My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
This is Optimal Finance Daily. Traditional retirement is dying. This is how I'm preparing for a future without it. Part 1 by U-Ming Lee of uming.medium.com. And I'm your host and personal finance enthusiast, Diana Merriam. I have a bit of a longer post, so I'll read the first half today and then finish the rest for you tomorrow. So with that, let's dive into part 1 and start optimizing your life. Traditional retirement is dying. This is how I'm preparing for a future without it. Part 1 by U-Ming Lee of uming.medium.com. Traditional retirement, the idea that one will voluntarily stop working at some predetermined age and live off of their accumulated savings until death, is becoming increasingly unrealistic. The majority of the younger workers, those under the age of 50, should not expect to retire. Not in the traditional sense, at any rate. The nature of work is evolving. It's moving away from traditional 9-to-5 employment and working for decades with the same employer who will contribute to your pension pot. This trend makes the traditional retirement model look increasingly out of touch. Thus, planning for the new age of retirement requires careful thought to avoid the shock of being rendered unable to work, but unprepared for that situation. These plans should include life decisions that are not solely financial in nature. I don't intend to retire ever, but I recognize that I'll have to stop working when my physical or mental abilities no longer allow me to. As a result, I've considered several necessary steps to take to ease the transition. Life insurance is mandatory, but don't overcomplicate it. Life insurance is like eating kale or leg day at the gym. You know it's good for you, but it's not something you think about much. Life insurance is commonly thought of as something that provides money to the surviving spouse and children after death. As a result, younger people tend to disregard it because they believe it isn't necessary for them while they're still young and don't have a spouse or children. When my parents were younger, they thought this way about life insurance. In fact, they never bought any insurance their entire lives. They believed that they could save enough money to cover their medical expenses in their later years. They were basically gambling with their lives. They were betting they wouldn't be in an accident or suffer a life-changing illness when they were younger. In their case, the risk paid off. But I can easily think of many other instances in which entire families were ruined because the primary breadwinner was uninsured when disaster struck. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Avoiding life insurance solely to avoid paying premiums will save you money in the here and now. But if disaster strikes, and it will sooner or later, you will have nothing to cushion the blow. What to do? Purchasing life insurance is a no-brainer. When you're young and healthy, the benefits of life insurance sound pretty theoretical. We all like to think we're invincible when we're younger. But in your youth, the premiums you pay for the privilege of being insured are insignificant compared to when you buy them later in life. So there's little reason not to buy life insurance. Think of life insurance premiums as putting money aside for a rainy day, something you want to set and forget. Keep it simple. Insurers enjoy including sweeteners like investment-linked plans and other complex arrangements to make insurance packages more marketable. But most of these deals benefit the insurer, not you. These extra features are frequently accompanied by hidden fees and restrictive lock-in penalties that tip the scales in the insurer's favor. Stick to a simple life insurance plan that you can understand and resist the urge to add too many features. Build your career around substance instead of chasing fashionable trends. Traditionally, retirement involves working until you reach retirement age, then receiving a lump sum or an annuity payment to replace your salary. This arrangement worked well for several decades. Nowadays, it's increasingly disconnected from reality. For one, the classic employer-employee contract is becoming obsolete. Gone are the days when someone could count on having a good-paying job for decades and being cared for by their employer once they retire. Instead, employers are increasingly looking for creative ways to classify their workers as independent contractors rather than full-time employees to reduce employee costs. Uber's well known for exploiting this legal loophole, effectively treating its drivers as temporary substitutes until self-driving cars become a reality. Furthermore, an increasing number of people are reconsidering full-time and office-based employment, a trend that has only accelerated since the pandemic. This suggests that the traditional assumption that one will work and earn a steady income for decades before retiring is unworkable for an increasing proportion of people. Sure, one could piece together solutions to replicate the pension plans that people in 9-to-5 jobs have always had access to. However, this is still an imperfect solution for freelancers whose incomes are much more volatile. What to do? Hear that on tomorrow's episode. You just listened to part 1 of the post titled, Traditional Retirement is Dying. This is how I'm preparing for a future without it, by U-Ming Lee of uming.medium.com. And I'll be right back with my commentary. Buy low, sell high. Buy low, sell high. It's a simple concept, but not necessarily an easy concept. Right now, high interest rates have crushed the real estate market. Prices are falling and properties are available at a discount, which means F.I.R.E believes now is the time to expand the F.I.R.E flagship fund's billion-dollar real estate portfolio. You can add the F.I.R.E flagship fund to your portfolio in minutes by visiting fundrise.com/OFD. That's FUNDRISE.com/OFD. Carefully consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the F.I.R.E flagship fund before investing. This and other information can be found in the fund's prospectus at fundrise.com/OFD. This is a paid advertisement. And a big thanks to U-Ming, who's one of the newest authors in our network. U-Ming, a former IT and finance professional, transitioned to remote work 15 years ago and now focuses on personal finance writing. He's preparing to launch a newsletter to help readers ease the transition to retirement outside the traditional 9-to-5 job paradigm. I have to disagree that the idea of retirement is dead. I'm surrounded by people who have voluntarily stopped working at some predetermined age and live off of their accumulated savings. While I agree that we no longer have access to pensions and most of us won't work for the same employer for decades, we don't need those things to save and invest enough for retirement. We have access to tax-advantaged investment vehicles for our retirement savings, whether we pursue W-2 or self-employment. Yes, insurance is important for protecting your assets, but this is not going to fund your retirement. The main ways people invest for retirement is through the stock market, real estate, or building their own business. I also don't think retirement has anything to do with one's age. It's a savings target that you could reach at any age. And that's why I think it's a good thing that we're no longer beholden to pensions in order to retire. We have so much more control over how much we save, how that money is invested, and how long it will take us to get to our target net worth for retirement. But we're just halfway through the article. So for now, have a happy rest of your day and a great start to your weekend. And I'll see you tomorrow, where we'll finish up this post and where your optimal life awaits.